Convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein begins a sentence behind bars tonight that could last the rest of his life. To his victims, a 23-year sentence in jail must seem frankly unimaginable. To his lawyers, it was, to quote, obnoxious and cowardly. Handing down the sentence, the judge explained to Weinstein he would be formally registered as a sex offender and told the movie mogul, this is your first conviction, not your first offence. Joining us now from California is one of Weinstein's accusers, his former executive assistant, Rowena Chiu. I wonder how that sentence has sunk in for you, Rowena. 23 years. Were you expecting that?
Absolutely not. It seems utterly unreal. I was coming off a flight from San Francisco to Los Angeles this morning when my phone blew up with the news. And much like last week, where I think a lot of the survivors were bracing for the verdict, thinking we might get a unanimous acquittal, today I was bracing for a light sentence of 5 years, a mere slap on the hand. So 23 years was unexpected. I was even able to joke they missed out 6 years.
Yeah.
It could have just gone for 29.
But you heard his lawyer, perhaps, outside the court today, declare the sentence, her words, obnoxious and cowardly. The suggestion she seemed to be making was that the Me Too movement is now driving, if you like, the legal ruling, that you're getting justice by popular rule. Your response to that?
Absolutely, and she's asserted that almost from the very beginning. And I would say that her defence of Harvey is obnoxious and obscene. And really, Harvey and his defence team have been touting a alternative narrative right from the beginning of the trial, and indeed, in the build-up to the trial. The survivors bravely came forward and told their stories. The 6 women, particularly, who took the stand, went through unimaginable amounts of trauma and horror, a re-triggering of their original assault to go up in the stand. And so I just say that look at who the jury has ended up believing and look who the judge has ended up believing. The testimony of the women stood as a proxy for the rest of us and the rest of our stories. I think Donna Rotunno... Sorry, go on.
Finish your sentence.
I think Donna Rotunno is going to continue, of course, to pound the tiny violin of self-pity for Harvey, but I think they're rapidly on a losing track there.
So I'm curious, when you hear the judge who used these words to Harvey Weinstein, it's your first conviction but not your first offence, it seems to turn up all the sort of legal rules that we've been used to, whether you heard about somebody's previous convictions and all the rest of it. Do you think this is now changing the way, fundamentally changing the way sex crimes are tried?
I think that the pendulum for a long time has swung so much in favour of the predator and generally, usually the man in these circumstances, that I think it'll be a long time before the pendulum swings in favour of the victim. I think some course correction is long overdue. Even in Harvey's trial, I would say that it appeared often as though the 6 women were up on stand for their, they were being tried for their moral character, for their past decisions, for their lifestyle choices. And Harvey, in not taking the stand, it appeared that often he wasn't the one on trial. So I think it's a long way before we get that pendulum to swing somewhere in the middle.
And do you feel it's closure for you, Rowena, now?
Personally, of course, it is a closing chapter in what is a very, very long journey that started when I was 24, that has spanned these 22 years and has had various phases. The phase of silence, the phase when my story was out in public but my name was not, and now these last few months where I've been speaking publicly. So, of course, it's a deeply emotional day.
Rowena Chiu, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for joining us this evening.